Oh my God, Alex. Whoa, what a crazy time. Everything's changing and I'm going through changes and people are asking questions about me. It's a crazy time. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. What
Yes.
makes Alex all right?
You recommended a lot of good media
Oh,
this week.
did I?
I enjoyed our challenge this week,
Ooh.
and I made a lot of noises like that while enjoying media. I enjoyed the weather until today.
Uh-oh. Oh no,
Yes.
no, is it hot? Oh no, you got heat dome, right?
I didn't realize it was a dome, but yes, it's very
Oh,
warm here. So,
I shouldn't read the paper. I heard
the-
that there was a heat dome, especially over the Midwest, is what I heard.
oh, that makes it sound fancier than it is.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is it hot there?
I said yes. It is.
How hot? Don't take a tone with me.
How hot is it? It
It's so
feels.
hot. Are you
It
ready for this? It's
feels.
so hot.
It feels 104.
But it looks 190.
Yeah,
It
depending on
smells
the
320.
the.
It feels. That's what they call the feels like temperature, huh?
Yes.
Does that involve wet
yes.
bulb? That's mostly humidity, right?
Yeah, you can tell that it's really summer in Chicago when you step out, or at least for me, when I step outside and I get the Florida feeling, like when when you're just like,
oh yeah,
oh,
that like that overwhelming feeling.
it's like,
Yeah.
there's a different viscosity of,
Yeah, I have a different human viscosity. I feel thick,
yeah, oh,
thick and moist, thick and
The-
moist like a
yeah.
pound cake, like a delicious
Yum.
pound cake in the sun.
is that a Hannibal Lecter? Is that the?
No, I think it was James Baldwin wrote a pound cake in the sun.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it
Can
is.
you recite it?
Yes, hi, I'm James Baldwin, and I will not give up my seat on the bus. It is very, very hot. I am thick with this viscosity. The end.
It's beautiful.
And it's so beautiful. And the thing was, he's a great editor. He knew what to cut out, which was the whole book, except for a sentence or two, because that's all anybody could be fucked to read anymore. Yeah, that is no fun. The relentlessness is no fun. And what's going on in Europe is so horrible. It's how we're so outpaced at like how much, even if we were trying hard to keep up with what causes the problem or how we deal with the problem. I think the log line is that a lot of the places in Europe, the cities in Europe were, well, I'm just cribbing this from things I've read, but this is housing that was built for the weather of the 50s and 60s. And you know what I mean? In the sense that like it's really about keeping heat in and being efficient and stuff like that, right? And now they just can't possibly keep up with it. France had 1,000 excess heat deaths in 1 week, which is such an upsetting idea to me. But honestly, it also just takes me straight back to my old pal Florida and the idea of like, air conditioning was really such a savior in so many ways, but like we got to where, I'm making this too broad, but like, the only way to deal with certain kinds of heat is with air conditioning, period. Like you can't open windows. Like it's not going to help. The places it's not like a Georgia plantation house with like 18-foot ceilings or something like that, or functional ceiling fans. So that like the problem is then as we grow and as we build more things, we do need more air conditioning, which then uses more power and all that kinds of stuff. And then like, but what do you do in a continent where they just like, we're like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be hot. The famous thing in Europe is that everybody, I guess, goes on vacation in August usually, right? Isn't that kind of the cliche?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But like, it just seems so inescapable right now. I don't know. It's sad. It's a bummer. It's no way to live. I do not like relentless heat.
No,
But I also do not brag about my weather, and no one should ever brag about their weather. That's my opinion.
I don't discourage bragging about weather. I genuinely do get a little bit sad about the lack of grace that Americans
How
and
do you brag about
Europeans.
weather? You had absolutely no, not you, but one. How does one brag about weather? It's a flex. Like for me to say right now that it's like 58 degrees outside would be a very frustrating thing to say to a lot of people whose infants are very ill.
Well,
Ha ha ha.
context.
I
Well,
happen. I moved to a place where it's cooler. Ho ho ho.
It's. I think the first time I thought about this was when probably in Texas there were really terrible. Well, again. For them, terrible snowstorms because there just
Right.
wasn't any
Oh,
infrastructure.
wait. Remind me, what was the thing there? There was a catch with the snow there, right? Where there was something. Is it like the electric went off and they couldn't get it back on? There was like a problem. Wasn't it that kind of a thing?
I believe so. This was before my weather guy era, but it was like they were experiencing brownouts as well. So then they couldn't, like they couldn't get gas into the snow plows. They couldn't get snow plows even into
it's like
various
Chernobyl.
cities. Yeah.
Well, they thought, oh, we're just testing this thing out. We're gonna make sure the rods can still be cooled if there's a cut in the power. And they're like, well, turns out there were some problems with that. By the way, I'm starting to talk more and more like Jeff Hiller. I hope that's okay.
I think
Is he bringing
more
joy
of
to your life? Doesn't Jeff Hiller bring a little bit of joy to your life?
Jeff Hiller brings, I think, a disproportionate amount of joy to my life of the past of his performance, not just his performances in one of my new favorite shows, Somebody Somewhere.
That's a good
which,
show.
As
You should watch that.
notes-
It's really good.
Yeah, but as
I watched 4 episodes last night.
it's a terrible name for a show. It's a terrible name to.
That's a running bit.
It's
a running bit
yeah.
in his audiobook. There's people constantly telling him what a terrible name the show has.
No, nobody, nowhere, no one.
Have you listened to the book?
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
You're kidding me.
The section about UCB made me.
How did you listen to the whole book so fast? That's crazy. Actress of a Certain Age. I've been listening to it a lot, and I really enjoy it.
Yes.
Did you look at the PDF of the photos that are inside?
I have not.
Oh
no.
my God! You got to look at old photos of Jeff Hiller. He's older than I thought, and it blows my mind. Oh, then of course at that point you always have to make the joke. You have to go December birthday. He's always reminding you to this. He has a December birthday. This is December birthday.
Joel Hitler, I think, kind of like with a lot of Americans right now, I wish would just give people more grace. Like how right now you wouldn't make fun of Europeans for like, how London, you don't have air conditioning.
Provide people more grace, not demand more grace.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be nice,
I don't want Jeff
but-
Hiller going door to door demanding grace.
I wouldn't mind it. But there were.
Don't ask him to sing Brannigan. He's not going to sing Brannigan. You'll get there. You'll get there.
No Brannigan. Was it no Brannigan? No Shania? No.
Oh yeah, what was it? They're the ones. Oh my God, how far in are you? I'm sorry. Let's pause for a minute because hey, everybody, Alex and I and our households are enjoying a wonderful show that kind of new to me. I mean, my wife's been telling me about this show for 2 years, but I'd never watched it.
Oh.
My whole introduction to Jeff Hiller is his Emmy, winning the Emmy, which I watched again last night, which everyone should watch probably every day. But no, it's just a wonderful show about a bunch of weirdos in a city in Kansas. And what is it about? It's about grief and community and being an outsider. I'm trying to avoid all the obvious like tags and keywords, but I think it starts out a lot being about grief and community.
The thing that some people might
Which makes it
know-
sound like a drag. I'm sorry. I can't present it that way. Don't worry. Like from the first 1 minute of this show, when the first time you see Jeff Hiller's face, when they just show him in a reaction shot, you're going to fall in love with this show. All it takes is one shot of Jeff Hiller's character, Joel, and you'll fall in love with us.
I was in the moment, spoilers for the first 30 seconds of this show, when I can't even think about it, sir. The first time we see Sam on her own, the protagonist, played by Bridget Everett, who people either know from Wake Up Dead Man, her like a guest, almost a cameo appearance as Louise, the the woman who works at the cemetery, or I forget. She's a receptionist somewhere, or she is like a very let's say if you came to this show because you know what I do, you probably know her from her burlesque work and just the wild stuff that she's done over the years.
Now, how do you know about this? How do you know about her? Let's come back to this. I want to find out how you know about Murray Hill.
Murray.
Well, we got to come back. Have we given enough context that this is a show? We're not going to talk about the whole episode, but I'm very into the Jeff Hiller cinematic universe right now.
But the shot of Sam at a water cooler holding one of those
a little paper cone.
Yes, and sticking her tongue into it like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And I had never seen anyone else do that, and this show is for me because I
and then we notice other people are watching her doing it.
Mm-hmm, yes. Only one person caught me doing it, so
that's good.
I'm not sweating. It's
yeah.
I think this show should be pitched as a comedy about people in Kansas who you think are weirdos, and then you immediately start to relate to and realize that.
But they think they're weirdos, and they know. Mm-hmm. Well, put differently, they know they're weirdos. I don't think we're othering them to say that. It's. I mean,
no, not like that. I meant more of like it's
just in the sense that they don't fit into the kind of the standard way the community works, and there's a lot of judgy stuff too.
And but it's a gosh, you are pitching it as a as a bummer, not a bummer, but I suppose I came into the show completely cold, other than knowing that it had one of the co-stars had won an Emmy, and it had Bridget Everett, and it was only half hour long. So I'm like, oh, cool, we have time to watch this.
Yeah.
Did not know it was an extremely dark and funny comedy. Did not know how queer it was going to be, and how much
often
grace
it
and
seems like they're not going to pull off the corniness of something, and it completely works.
Yeah.
No, honestly, there's times I keep thinking there's no way they're going to turn this into something that's not just, corn, and so to speak.
Well,
which, by the way, Dr. Professor Fred Rococo can help you with.
I couldn't tell if I am a bad farmer's grandlay, because I'm like, I have no idea what he is making. Like this show is every single character in this show I have met or I am related to, which is why I have glommed onto it in an unhealthy way. But I am looking at
when he gets his Emmy, when he got his Emmy, Jeff Hiller said so many funny things. When he got his very, very short, very moving, but very funny acceptance speech, and one of them was something like along the lines of, "And thank you to HBO for putting so many sweaty middle-aged people on the same channel as those the sexy teens from Euphoria." There's a lot of moisture on this show. A lot of moist loaves.
Wet. Not there's. There's a wet dog. There's tornadoes. Way more water than you'd think in tornadoes.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, neither did I until I rewatched Twister.
Vitamix. Vitamix has a lot of moisture.
And apparently you can make soup.
It's not a dream. What, the hot con? Yeah, it's not a dream board. It's a vision board.
It is a vision board. Well, a dream is boring to some people. But if you tell someone your dream, they might be like, "That's boring." But if it's a vision,
I think in terms of language, I would say I'm sharing my vision with you. That's what I would say.
Yes,
I'm going to share my vision with you.
Yeah, it's not a big ask. Just look at the.
Why don't
Never been to Europe.
why don't you go ahead and do your intro?
This is Due by Friday, a weekly challenge podcast with Alex Cox and Merlin Mann. This week's challenge: organize a library. I like that little ditty. Oh, that was a laugh like mine.
No, it was a Jeff Hiller laugh. Yeah, it's a real good show. Yeah, I mean, like I don't think I'm necessarily making it sound depressing, but it's a queer show in that it's about queer people, but it's also got a very queer sensibility to it. You know what I mean?
It has the old-timey queer vibe of just unusual or surprising, off-kilter, and I don't mean any of those things in a bad way. That's why it was reclaimed. And that's kind of how the whole show is, where you're just like, oh, okay, all right, this is... I did not expect that, and yet I should have known, because this is how people do indeed act, and this is how much grace I wish people had for one another. And I just keep thinking... But
it's not always easy. It's not always what you'd expect, and I like that it deals with the complexities of everybody's got their own hang-ups. And you can even see it with that Bridget Everett character where, you know, every time that she's dealing with her sister being how her sister is, how they are with each other more fairly, like then for example, she like takes it out on somebody else a little bit, which I think is a pretty classic thing that a lot of us do, whatever our background is, you know, where if we're not careful, we accidentally pass on the more acidic, unkind things that we say to build barriers with each other, you know. And then you just end up doing Zumba with your friend in his garage a little bit. Meh.
Found out that that's why Zumba is called Zumba.
Why is Zumba called Zumba, Alex?
It is a real word in another language, and I thought
it's a very
it was
popular
just
class.
A funny name.
Zumba was hot for a while.
I thought it was still hot. I
might have to confuse it with Taibo. I know that was a long time ago, but
I did Taibo. It was cool, and
Taibo's the one. It's like the opposite of capoeira, right? It's like you're doing it's exercise, dance, martial arts.
It's not dance.
Like
it's
dance
more
fighting? What is it?
Aerobic. No, it's not sexy dance fighting. Because there's a lot of middle-aged moms and their daughters who have just been picked up from school who are like tagging along. And
that's Taibo. I thought Taibo you did from a VHS tape. Zumba I thought was the thing you do at a tennis court.
I don't know. See, I have so
you know what
much
they say. A little
learn.
learning
We're
is a
always
dangerous
changing.
thing. Yes, everyone's changing. Rabbit. It's absolutely true. I think it's delightful. We should do the challenge, but so there's a character on this show that I instantly I'm obsessed with, and it's a character on the Fred Rococo, which for some reason I really enjoy saying Fred Rococo. I like that name a lot. And Fred Rococo is played by an actor called Murray Hill. Is that right? Is that correct? Mm-hmm. No, wait, Murray Hill?
Yeah.
Is that a neighborhood in New York?
I believe so.
Isn't that what Sonic Youth is from?
I know that he named it. He named himself after a neighborhood, and it's.
And how do you? And he's like the MC at this pretty queer, like quote unquote choir practice, which is mostly an excuse to just like sing karaoke and hang out and drink a little. What do you know Murray Hill from?
He has been around for, I think, as long as I've known that drag has existed. I've known of Murray Hill. He was my first exposure to drag kings.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so people would recognize him.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think we were in the same...
to me, he's just this incredibly obscure character out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God, with the fake mustache and everything, this is the greatest character I've ever seen.
when I saw the character Frederick Coco, I was like, oh my god,
I'm not
that's
going to
the
hit you,
best
but
Murray
walk
Hill.
into this.
Like that's an amazing Murray Hill impression. What the heck? And like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I have a running text
Whoa,
file
whoa,
now
whoa,
that's just
whoa.
things Frederick Coco says.
And he and
Control the controllables.
the thing with Murray Hill too is has been a figure of not just New York's drag scene, but just kind of all over, and for the basic bitches as well, like me, who isn't exactly
By basic bitch, you mean like a tourist of that culture?
yeah, who's like knows about ballroom culture, but is not one to participate or understand. Like, just I have never seen a full episode of Drag Race. Like that is, it's just so foreign to me. So someone who is like absolutely there for it, but has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And I've seen him MC a couple of events that are just like either queer related, but most two drag shows and one that was just like a variety show. And
We said ball. A ball. You mean like? Well, my context for that, because I'm very, very old, is that Paris is Burning movie, like with the houses and come out and do the walks, and you have different categories and that kind of stuff.
Yes, but the basic, like, he holds your hand in the best way of like, I'm not going to treat you guys like idiots, but I know that you haven't all seen Paris is Burning, and you also don't know every single reference from Drag Race, because you're because I can just look at you. I think he said I can look at you, and I know that some of you have pronouns that I don't understand, or just something like that. He's like, oh, okay. And I've always
there's one where they're having brunch, and he goes, I think it's
oh my god.
He goes, let's spill the tea. What is it? Is that how homosexuals talk?
He does one of my set scene. There are four people at a table at this nice little diner, like they're having brunch, and it's, you know, most of the people in this small Kansas town are straight, and the waiter presumably isn't super familiar with gender or sexuality or thinks about it a lot, but knows enough that he goes up to he goes to Frederick Coco and says, "Here you are, sir. I mean, ma'am." And Frederick Coco just is like, "Hey, it's all right. You got it. You got it right the first time." And another one of the characters leaves a bigger tip because he
Fred pays for brunch and leaves a huge tip.
Yeah.
And Bridget is like, whoa, well, if he leaves a big tip, it's like, yeah, he feels bad when he makes the waiter feel bad.
Which is the thing that people do, and again, it was just it was real thing after real thing, and
but you know, I would hate to seem like I'm pushing back, because you know more about this, you've forgotten more about this than I'll ever know, but I also like the idea. I just like the idea of this world where we all stop acting like we're experts on everything, and because it's nice. It can be a good feeling to think you've got it all figured out, but like, I mean, on the other hand, well, what should that waiter have said? I mean, Frederick Cook is not wearing a sign. You don't know. I mean, it's not my business. It's never been my business to tell Frederick Coco what his pronouns are, and if he decided to change them that morning, how would the waiter know that? I'm not trying to be clever or like stupid about this, but like the fact that like everybody, the more subtlety that we get, the more subtlety we see, the more subtlety we experience, the more varieties of human experience that we see, the more I hope we can all realize we're not experts, and we're all just, in any case, always just dealing with different people who are doing their thing. And that's really different from like an entrenched like siege mentality about like whose experts know more about how the world works. And this show doesn't have that feeling to it. As who said this. Oh, it was that wonderful interview with Rachel Martin where she said this is like the most vulnerable. The relationship between Joel and Sam is like the most vulnerable relationship I've ever seen on screen. It's so intimate, but also they can unintentionally hurt each other so much without meaning to. And they have that, but they have that kind of relationship that I've seen a lot in lots of communities, but especially in queer communities, where it's like, God, you're incredibly close to this person, but you're also, there's something about it that's like, there's a certain amount of like friction to it as well, you know? And I don't know. I guess I would recommend this show. There's 3 seasons of it, and it's on HBO where you can watch it, and it's by an interesting group. Now you finished the book. I didn't. Now Kate Dippold, who keeps coming up in the autobiography or in the memoir, that's the person who wrote the show, right? Is that the Katie he keeps talking about? From UCB
or
and stuff
the
like that?
executive producer.
But and then you got to do plus. Like one of the all-time great Celebrity Jeopardy players.
I didn't know that.
Mark
Wait,
Duplass is very good at Celebrity Jeopardy, I'm pretty sure. And he's done lots of things. He and his brother, right? He did Safety Not Guaranteed.
And God, I am doing the thing where that's annoying. But like ping-ponging back between mainstream stuff and what HBO show couldn't be considered mainstream? I'll say it. Yeah, somebody somewhere mainstream show. But you know, pinging back and forth between something like Ugly Betty or I don't think that's right. I think it was the Mindy Project. And then just like wildly strange things that I have never heard of. But I see the poster and I'm like, oh, that makes sense that it would be the Duplass brothers in the best sort of way.
Yeah.
And the way I just want to clarify the whole like the way that the queer characters react to the like the cis straight people on this show is like it is in real life. They're not weird about it. And like you said, why would anybody expect to know the history of Fred Rococo? Why would like... No, it's...
Oh, I wasn't trying to pick nits. I was just saying that, like, we're all learning and we're all doing our best. And, you know, I think probably Professor Dr. Fred Rococo realized that waiter was not trying to be hurtful.
No, absolutely.
He's a kid,
but
you know.
The he's sweaty too. Even the young people.
So many moist loaves.
Sweaty, yeah.
Moist loaves. That is a terrible name for something.
Oh,
I don't know why James Baldwin even chose it.
No, I did. No,
moist
no
loaves
idea.
of my summer existence.
No, I keep now thinking about whether or not a loaf of something how much water it can or would absorb, especially as it
depends what it's a loaf of, I suppose.
Exactly. Like I
well, I think I'd suggest it was pound cake.
Wait. Never mind. It's not interesting. I will look into whether or not a pound cake is a loaf on my own time, but
whether it always weighs a pound. Or perhaps whether it always costs a pound. Like a pound sterling. Or maybe if it's a moist loaf that you fuck, in which case you would be pounding the cake.
No.
Moist loaf.
No.
Then there's some kinds of loaves that are cats. Right? Don't you sometimes call a cat a loaf? Like a poutine? Don't you call a poutine a loaf?
Yes, it is one. I'm looking at one.
God
right
forbid
now.
somebody moisten my cat.
Oh, when they're
Maybe
moist.
likes a wet pussy.
Ugh. Oh God. I don't like. I don't hate it. I just don't. I don't love it. No, don't go blue. As
you're right.
No blue. No blue waffles.
Don't blow the loaf. Pound the loaf.
Yeah, there's no lemons at the party. No.
Well, I don't think the lemons. I mean, the lemons are metaphorical at the party.
I am not familiar with that subculture of whether or not
the men with the lemons.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know if it's kind of like a, because a bottom, from what I understand, you don't need
There's
to
so many of these
literally be on
power
the bottom.
dynamics. Can't people just fucking suck their loaves without you
Ex
giving it a name?
I'm not giving it the
You
name.
better not give it a name.
Yeah, I'm just hearing the name. If Fred Rococo tells me something, like I told you, if he were to be
He's a
like,
professor of agriculture. He knows how to fix the corn.
it's, oh God, like, I don't know. In June 2026, when you're watching a television show
Yep.
and you just see a trans man and a trans man in his 50s and a farmer is a very seasoned farmer in, I believe he's in his 70s on the
Oh
show.
man,
Oh,
that guy is such a
yeah.
that guy. I could not tell you a
Yeah.
single thing that the father has been in, but he's been in everything.
I man, I didn't
Don't
know
you
he had
love when the
passed
mom
away.
walks into the screen door because she's drunk?
Oh, didn't know
God,
that. Oh,
this is so freaking funny. Um, other things. We can get onto our challenge in a sec. Some other quick bullet points. Did you ever watch TV show Veep?
yes.
So you
Oh,
might recognize. This is. I don't want to. I don't want to start digging us into too big of a thing here because I can't decide if this is interesting or controversial or neither. But I do realize that there's a certain kind of character on at least TV shows I watch. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's a type, but the sister. Like sometimes a lot of the drama in a TV show comes from the relationship with usually a woman and her sister. And three that come to mind are this show. One that comes to mind is Fleabag with Fleabag and her sister.
have not seen. It is on list.
Another one is Amy on Veep, who has the sister that works at CVS and sleeps with Dan. Did you clock that that's the same actress?
No.
Yeah. Remember, Dan thinks she
Holy
works at
shit.
CBS,
CBI.
but she actually works at CV, like with the long receipts. But there's such a type, which is like the sister, the uptight, judgy, passive aggressive sister. Like it's almost at this point, it's almost like a Disney stepmother. It's such a type. Like when they're having that scene in the I think first episode where Sampire goes down to the basement to get paper towels, and her sister comes with her. And remember, and it's just the moment when she says, "Hate the sin, not the sinner."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh
And
man, that's such a lame, trite, horrible thing to say." But it exactly encapsulates the evil sister. Oh, another one. I mean, there's so many. There's oh shit, what was the other one? The British show I was just watching. It doesn't matter. But it's Chi on Things You Should Have Done. Did you watch
I don't-
Did you watch any of Things You Should Have Done with Chi with a C?
seen it. No, no.
Oh, her parents her parents are, what was the phrase she always uses? Her parents were annihilated by a lorry accident, and her parents are going to leave her. This is Lucia Keskin, who I love from the Off Menu and other things. And her parents, she has a sister, and her parents are going to leave her at the house. But first, she has to do this list of things she should have done when they were alive. She has to learn how to drive. She has to get a job, and that's the premise of the show. But her
It's
sister
like,
is
how
so
do,
fucking mad about it. Her sister hates her so much. It's really funny.
when I had adored that and was heartbroken by that scene in the basement where you are like you get the you realize that it
God,
is
the
that
production
type of
design, the beer can collection.
oh God.
I mean, there's like that house looks so much like so many houses I've been in, down to something my friends, usually dads and brothers, would have, which is beer can collections. And you would put the beer cans on those I-beam like rafters in your basement.
Yep.
For you, what, with a Howman's Old Style or something? Probably. What's your local shitty beer there? Is it Howman's?
It's old style.
So like in Barrington in Rhode Island, it's Narragansett or as we like to call it, Nestagansett. And they would smash them, the way you smash a beer can into a little disc, and then they would like stick them into the ceiling. They had this whole I mean, it's just so weird. Anyway, but that scene down there and all the like Costco style like packages on the ping pong table, like it just. And then when you go back upstairs, it's all like
there.
embroidered pillows and wine is my hobby and all that kind of stuff. It's such a richly inhabited world.
It's. I mean, I will send you the reason that my spouse did not want me to watch to binge the show is because of how much this just mirrors my family. Not the luckily I don't have that sort of
interesting.
Well,
no, I think I'm on to you. Like maybe not the same tone, but the same dramatis personae. Is it like the same cast of characters, but not? I'm guessing. I'm trying to help here, but it's not as caustic.
Yeah. And because my family is unlike this family, it is so big. Like there is, the bitch aunt, and then who like we have an outcast sister who you might be shocked to know is my godmother, and like that exact family dynamic. And then there's
wow, really?
There's that basement looks exactly like the part of our farm that was like that the house part, because it's you have
outbuildings there too, right?
In the second season, there's a scene where the sisters are cleaning out a barn because their dad has I don't think he's passed away in the show. But the
thing is, he did die between seasons.
Yeah.
How did you watch so much of this show so fast? You did that sleeping. And listen to the audiobook?
Yeah.
I only know, and I'm not chiding you, except I watch this show a lot, and I've been listening. Been listening to this. I'm on like chapter 14 now. I'm up to like, I just got through UCB, and a lot of the New York stuff. Going to wait in line for Shakespeare in the Park tickets. Actually, it's The Seagull by Chekhov. I'm up to there, but wow, you're. I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
I don't know how you watch so much. I'm impressed at how much Taskmaster you've been able to consume.
I don't do other stuff. I don't look at Instagram.
Well, this I don't. This I just could not look away from this show because I mean my grandparents had, because they're getting older, they had to sell the farm, and that was like one of the most emotional. Oh
God, that transition to like
I mean,
in the same way it's like when Bridget
ever happened in our family.
You walk in that second episode and the dad's like figuring out bills, paying for the mother to be in rehab and all that stuff, and like we can't afford to get you guys to work here this year. And like that loss of power, that loss of not only power. I think power is too strong a way to put that. That loss of, to use your word, agency. To like go, hey, wait a minute. How did this go from being completely my thing to something where I don't even really get a vote? Like, how did we do that so fast? It would be so jarring for anybody.
I would not say it is a loss of dignity, but I know that I have felt that way, and people will feel like I am not just losing agency, but I'm losing so much of my dignity because I've had to give up this control of something that I am proud of and have worked really hard on, and
you've made sacrifices and done the right thing and taken your licks, and like, even if you like are at zero on the balance sheet, well, you've made it this far, and then people are going to start telling you that it's not really your thing to do anymore, and it's like, oh man, that's rough.
And that was part of again, I just fucking could not look away, since that luckily wasn't my grandparents' experience. They were able to like choose, all right, we're going to sell our farm, but it was the thing of like all the kids and grandkids, like we're cleaning out this big space, and there's so much conflict between family members who've you spend your whole life in. I truly don't know if people can, if this is just a Midwest thing or like,
What's that?
just the sort of, obviously grief is universal, but like the experience of watching, having to confront family stuff with like
right. Well, especially like the stuff of the stuff.
the literal stuff.
Yeah, it's one thing for your parents to live in like a fairly small place in Brooklyn, or I guess in an extreme case, the Collier brothers, the famous example of the two brothers that had hoarded so badly they were like the newspapers were collapsing on them and killing them. Check that out for notes. Do you know about the Collier brothers?
No.
It's just
the
Coll. I think it's
Collier.
Collier. Probably 1940s, 30s, 40s in America.
Yes. Only because there was an
But in the
SVU
case
episode.
of the Midwest.
Or just like a suburban
Yes,
thing, not
exactly.
even necessarily.
Okay,
a
suburban
farm
is fine
thing.
because, but then,
Yeah.
okay, so what do you got? You got a three bedroom, two bath house with a basement. You probably got a storage facility. You got an attic. You got all this stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, like there's probably so much stuff in that place that hasn't really been touched on a sliding scale, somewhere between 5 and 50 years.
Yes.
And like you have to go now and be like an archaeologist to go figure out what to do with all of that.
And you need to discuss, if you have even if you just have like a sibling, like in the show, you need to discuss and evaluate, okay, what is the emotional value? What is the financial value? Where the fuck is this going to go? Who's going to be angry?
Who's going to hire
that
a
we've
junk
gotten-
hauler? Like,
Yeah,
and
even what is junk? What are you're suddenly
It's so impossibly-
reevaluating your values about things, and like, oh god, it's a fascinating show that is. It also makes you realize how weird you like when I say like, oh no, they're not weirdos. It's because it is this beautiful mashup of outsiders and people who think they are, the in group, and as those layers are slowly pulled away in a way that I think, yeah, it could be considered like corny, but the first time there's like the conflict of she's not the main character isn't queer, but she's, Bridget's or Sam is the weirdo, and Trisha is the live laugh love, and
she's the one who left. She left the
says,
farm. She went to Lawrence, Kansas.
Faith
There's a
and
lot.
family.
Say again?
Faith and family.
There's a lot. There's a lot that goes by real fast. I have to say, in the first like 3 episodes, there's a lot of like world building stuff where like if you aren't paying attention, it's it's kind of like watching Dunkirk, where like if you miss that title card, like in this case, if you don't really get if you're not paying attention, if you're looking at your phone, you're not going to notice that snapshot of Holly and her ex. That's on the mirror, like that's going to become important. So if you're confused later about why Bridget goes and talks to the black lady with the boat, like, well, I don't think they even say how she died. I assume cancer.
Based on the medications.
Oh, right. But there you go. But like, so Bridget had left. Bridget came back, Sam came back to like help take care of her sister when she was ill, and like all of those old wounds just open right back up, Because like she's the one who went to, oh great, you left the farm to go become a bartender and then came back and helped for a year. Gee, thanks. And all those recriminations and all of that, like, because you also part of the hilarious, wonderful thing that's only told through like flashback yearbook photos is that Sam was kind of a big deal in high school. She was a really good competitive swimmer, and she was in the choir. She was like the star singer. And now
cool,
she's
a cool outsider in
those
high
cool
school.
bangs, those hairsprayed bangs.
And now she's the villain of a self-published book.
We should probably not talk
Vampire.
further about this, but like
I just wanted
her
to-
body, what she does with her body in this, just in the first 2 episodes, is so fucking great. I'm just watching her like stretching before she jumps into the pool. or like when she's out there in her underpants on the front porch. Like it's all. Oh wait, so without spoilers, did you get to the end of season 2?
No,
Okay.
can't watch that one yet.
You got to get caught up with your friend.
I saw a relation as soon as I saw a relationship, like a man go on stage, and I saw a weirdo. And because if you're watching this show, you know that people do get a lot of grace. As soon as you see that, like, they get some screen time, you know that there's going to be some sort of empathy extended to them. And I'm like, oh, this, I don't want to spoil it for people, but just the relationships become so real when you are like, oh, I wouldn't expect that to happen. And I just keep thinking about Trisha and that first conflict between her and Sam, you know, and being like, oh, you're giving her all the gay shirts, and I don't mean gay in the bad way, like
gay
literally
shirts,
gay.
And she's so passive aggressive, the way she's so like, you know, oh, now you're being defensive, you're always so defensive. When did you become like this? But she
doesn't have to, like, I really expected her to be the bitch sister through the whole thing, it's not. I mean, it becomes a relationship with, or at least in my experience, a relationship with a sibling that is always really complicated. When like, and someone would, I see people be like, oh my God, how can you still be in contact with a family member who is a transphobic, or, you know, who is ashamed of you and stuff. It's like, well, it's a lot more than, it's fucked up, but there's so much going on, and there are so many layers of,
that's
like,
the difference between family and someone who works at Cinnabon. Like, they're really quite different things. It's one thing for somebody out in the world to be kind of a dick with you, and it's another thing if it's your family, like, because you're kind of stuck with them. You know, I just want to. Oh, sorry. I'm worried. I'm worried that we're making this sound like homework. I just want to say I think this show is fucking hilarious. It's wonderfully touching, and it's one of those difficult. It's difficult to recommend only because it's hard for me to describe the reason I like it, and the reason I like it is because I've watched a lot of it. I can't pitch this too well or too easily, except to say that, like, this show is totally its own thing. It's got its own vibe and energy, and if you can get with the vibe and energy of this show, I think it's deeply rewarding and, if I may say, fairly moving.
The end of almost every episode feels like a exhale in
a catharsis,
best way.
And you know, this is actually, I have to say, this is pretty apt for the Merlin test, which is just sit down, turn off your fucking phone, and watch every. Just, I don't want to make it into homework, but guys, God, please, if you don't like stuff, it might be because you're just not paying enough attention to it. You got to really watch things. Watch the first episode, and by the end, you'll know whether this show's for you. I feel very confident saying.
I think it is an incredible, maybe on the nose, but an incredible short film. Just the first episode.
I do too. I do too. Exactly. You use that word pilot. It's such a good pilot because there's so many pilots. You could even go back and watch the first episode of Gilmore Girls, which I think is technically called pilot. And if you just go, like, there's these shows where you can watch the first episode and, like, oh, they had a pretty good idea based on everything they could know at the time. They had a really good conception of what this show was going to be from early on. And obviously in this case, like, you've probably heard the story 3 times now about, there's a very good line in the last episode of season 1 that Jeff Hiller improvised. It's one of the most moving things that somebody says on the show, if you know Jeff Hiller especially. But, like, so there are things that come along, but the show was really well considered from the beginning. I just want to say it's really fun, and it's really, it really lifts me. And I think we could all use more of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bummer. I think it is.
Yeah, we talked about this show about, you know, every time we talk about the queers, it gets sad.
I did. No, see, I completely. It, like, every time.
Yeah, but no one's seen it yet, Alex. If they haven't seen it,
I know. I hope
we're describing a cardboard box and talking about how great the thing in it is. And if half of our discussion is how sad it is, they're not going to want to open the fucking box.
The sad parts are the conflict you feel about just the differences between family. They happen, some of the characters happen to be queer, but like the same sort of conflict happens between, or at least like a live, laugh, love mom and a mom that just doesn't care about that and would rather, watch Marvel movies. Like, I don't know. It's just, every conflict and every beat of emotion feels so real and just
inhabited.
Something you don't see or like something I have not seen outside of a actual real life space in so long, or
Thank you. I'll take the TV show.
Festival. Then like, Jesus Christ, they went there in a good way. Like, you can, sometimes you're in your underwear with your best friend laughing and you don't really know why, but they pull it off, and it's still.
No, I'm just gonna go home and drink wine in my underwear. I don't know. It sounds so lonely. It sounds lonely. No, I realize, just hearing my own voice as I'm recording this with you, that how often I am unintentionally, because I've listened to so much of his audiobook, which, by the way, is not even read by him. It is performed by him. Like,
yes,
including all the way down to like, and when I moved to New York, I learned that you say it's Houston, not Houston. That's just for audiobook listeners, because that wouldn't make any sense in print.
I don't think you've gotten to this part, but there's an actor dies and there's a tonal shift, and he's like, all right, you just need to know on this page there's a lot. There is a line.
You're talking about on the show?
No, in the audio book where he's talking about
It's okay. Just say what it is.
The I forget the name. What's his name? The actor who plays the dad passes away.
Yeah. Michael. Yeah, right. The guy who plays Sam Sampire's dad.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, and in the audiobook, I forget the exact line. He's like, "This is a line break. I know this is an abrupt shift in tone." And he, as he's narrating, he is indeed, like, his voice is breaking. You can tell that this is, he is not.
Yeah.
Is not pulling the crying
he's so human, and I doubt that he's perfect, but like, he's such a light for me right now. I really want to recommend the show on HBO, and if you are interested in Jeff Hiller, I mean, if you want to just cut straight to the money shot, his getting the Emmy Award and all the people that he talks, how moved he was by seeing Bowen Yang like crying that he won the award, or Michael Urie, or like all the different people, Coleman Domingo, like all these other queer people who were like so excited for him to have won this. That's fantastic. And then there's two wonderful interviews. A really, like, surprisingly better than I expected NPR video podcast called something with Rachel Martin. I forget what it's called. It's about cards. But I watched like 4 of those. The Chris Fleming one of those is really good too.
It's a show that I would have immediately passed. It would have been like,
why? Did you notice the titles are totally douche titles?
Mm-hmm.
All the titles are like, here's Chris Fleming on the one trick to get your career on. And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, no. How about instead, this is the most out of character I have seen Chris Fleming ever in an interview. But still very funny, but like talking like a person, looking you straight in the eyes, straight down the barrel. That's really good. And then what was the other one I was going to recommend, is with, what was the one I sent you to? There's the...
that was the one I'll have to look in the super secret text channels, because it was just the NPR quiz emotionally. I try not to use the term vulnerability as much, because
I love that word.
I
love that word.
I
can't stop. I told Alex, I love that word.
You're making him some more southern and more.
Well, he does that. He'll lapse into,
especially talking about his hometown. I love
San Antonio.
God, see, audiobooks are good. Everybody, audiobooks are. Like,
you ever try that St. Louis sushi?
It's
what was the other one? So those are really good. And then also, I don't know if I recommend it exactly, but I don't even understand quite exactly what the Paley Center is. I discovered these interviews back in the day of the Parks and Rec cast and, things like that, where they bring out the entire, like, it's almost like a South by Southwest type thing, but there's a Paley Center interview with the two creators of the show and several of the cast members, including Dr. Professor Frederick Oko. And what did he say? He said the funniest goddamn thing. He said,
was it his catchphrase? I'm the hardest working middle-aged man in Hollywood that he's opened shows with for like 20 years.
He says trans men don't even have enough representation to be killed on Law and Order SVU. So this is a big show.
It's true.
Control the controllables.
They used to have actresses who played lesbians on the L Word play trans women on SVU, and it was just one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I could see that. Also,
Shane is absolutely.
Yeah.
There are some words used. I'm going to put this scene in show notes. Oh. It's very funny. The reason I keep like kind of harping on the whole not just like the vulnerability, but the authenticity and the grace of all this, and why I wish it was extended to more folks in general, is he the way that he in this book talks about UCB is how I try to think about a lot of things, where he is talking about how can't
these two things be true, that it is almost like a pyramid scheme and cult, and yet something I was very happy. It never even occurred to me that I would do anything but pay for these classes, because it's exactly what I wanted.
I think
my niece did that. My niece became like a mid-level big shot at UCB.
It is just the phrase, like, it never even occurred to us, or we never thought about that, and is a vulnerable thing to admit, and also a very important thing to admit to yourself, that it can be scary but also illuminating. And
sometimes it's like what it takes. I mean, I'm not for some reason I don't know why I'm thinking of Johnny Tremaine, but like imagine like somebody, like some poor child has to go become like an intern with the silversmith, and it's like, well, yeah, you're going to come here and be a child and work for free, because that's how you learn to be a silversmith. Like you don't become a silversmith by preying on it. Like, you're going to have to go out there and get that experience, and if you want to be. And then maybe get a nice silver hand as a result.
A Johnny Tremaine reference from UCB to Johnny Tremaine.
It's so
that
embarrassing.
Like
I've never read it.
I
haven't read any of those books. I didn't read that. I didn't read.
You're enjoying Instagram too much, apparently.
Why do you always think that's directed at you?
No one reads anymore.
Oh my goodness, you're so unkind to me for talking about a thing that's absolutely true.
I agree that it is a thing that people do, but
why are you so unkind to me?
I'm not being.
You're a mean queer.
I agree with
better
that.
when you're closeted.
Most people did.
Yeah.
It was cozy there. Should we? Speaking of coziness, why did I become a Muppet? Goodness gracious! Goodness.
I don't know.
Well, because Muppets are great, and
let's do the challenge. How about we do the challenge?
Yeah, let's do the challenge.
Challenge. This week's challenge is. Sorry, please keep talking. What? Were you in the middle saying glug glug glug, and I cut you off?
I was saying digga digga dug 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 because I forgot.
That was kind of racist. Yours.
I'm gonna say no, but then I'm gonna listen back and be like, yep, it did indeed sound pretty bad.
You're good. This one was organize a library. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's challenge to organize a library, whatever that means to you.
Would you like to go first?
Yeah, my main takeaway from this is that I look at things that I have. So when we say organized library, I mean, on the face of it, that could mean like straight up, hey, figure out how your books should be put together on a shelf, or, come up with a database for, your physical media. In my case, this kind of stuff. But But it's fun. Like when I look back at a lot of, I don't mean this to be a karma suck, but like when I look back at a lot of the time, I put a look back at the occasions upon which I spent a lot of time organizing things. In retrospect, I'm not sure I've always gotten maximal value out of the time that was put into that. Like if you've got a library with books, like as in like a college library, I guess they still probably have those. But like that was my job, my work study job, which I enjoyed, was working at the library. And so, that means being at the desk and signing books out. But a lot of the time is putting books back on the shelf and, that have been returned, checking them back in, the kinds of things you do at a library. I assume they still exist. But like, man, it was so great for me because it was quiet, it was chill. Nobody was bugging you. And you got to just roll around with the cart, putting things back in the PNs or whatever. And if I was in the PNs, I could just like just content myself with just noticing what else was there and honestly grabbing books as I went that I wanted to check out that I just noticed, you know what I mean? Those sorts of things. That is definitely worth the effort. To apply LOC or Dewey Decimal to a library system makes a ton of sense. I did a similar thing probably 6 months ago with my 3D filaments, where I got really involved in this whole big structure, all the way down to having QR codes for each spool that would know like how much was on there. And like, I just mention it because I'm just going to say it. It's what I believe what attorneys call an attractive nuisance. I need to be careful because I can organize the shit out of stuff for a really long time and kind of lose myself in it just because that's sort of how my brain is. Mm-hmm. That is the skills or the activities necessary to organize stuff can be very engrossing for my brain because it's such a fit. Like imagine you've got your two hands with your fingers splayed out and you're going to grab them together to make one big, two-handed thing. Like that fits together so well with my brain that the thing is I haven't used the benefits of that organization very much because I had never really thought about like how much I need that level of organization. So I have to learn to be careful about that. I'll throw back to you in a second. But for this one, I decided to think about how I want to organize my physical media. I have approximately one Billy bookshelf width, like, Billy Bookshelf.
Billy Bookshelf.
Billy. Everybody knows Billy Bookshelf. Everybody called him Billy Bookshelf because he looked like a bookshelf.
He goes by William now. He's an adult.
That's just wow. Whoa, hang on. Listen to that. Whoa.
Oh.
Can you hear that? It's because it's next to a dish.
Oh.
It's my Q-tip dish. And I have a Billy Bookshelf with one shelf width of for practical purposes, just movies that I've bought, Blu-ray and DVD.
Mm-hmm.
DVD. And I thought I would think about that for my version of this, and I did some things with that. But I just wanted to talk. My opening statement is I sometimes feel a little bit chastened about these kinds of projects because I'll catch myself going, are there other things you should be doing instead of organizing? Because you like organizing things. And like, it's the classic 43 folders thing. Like if you're doing that, because that pleases you, that's okay. But like, do not unintentionally mentally conflate that with being, if you like, productive or something. But I had some interesting ideas for that. What did you decide to organize?
I think it accepted a long time ago that a lot of the things that I enjoy organizing, I don't need to, but I treat it almost like sitting down to do a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle or Lego, just like this will be satisfying. And I'm going to look at all my video game books right there, and maybe it'll be useful to know they're in that corner, but probably not. One thing that had been annoying the heck out of me was my audio bookshelf library, which a lot of folks don't know what this is. It's like it's an open source Docker. Typically, it's run in Docker, like Plex or Jellyfin, but instead of movies and TV shows, it holds audiobooks, and it kind of has support
software
for ebooks. Yes, software. Yes, it is software that it runs on my.
You're talking a lot of good fancy boy talk, but I don't know if people know what Docker is. They don't need to know, but you're talking about a package or an application that you can run that lets you, in the same way that Plex will let you organize your digital, you can do audiobooks in Plex. It's not really tuned for that. But like that's the idea, right? It's like something that's especially tuned for the needs of somebody who has a lot of audiobooks and wants to do things with it.
Yes, for mostly listening. Well, and I had started.
Well, there must be a reason you're organizing. This is the thing, though. I'm not trying to cut you off short, but like that is part of the interesting part. Is like, well, then why bother? Why do you need to organize? If you can just go search in Spotlight, why do you need to organize? And then you get to things like, well, like in my case, like I want to be able to do things like derive data out of that, or I want to be able to search across all of these transcripts, or like whatever it is. And sometimes that's not obvious straight up, on the face of it. Mm-hmm. That like, oh, there's more to this than just wanting to quote unquote be organized. There's like a functional reason that would help me enjoy this more, or get me to take this more seriously if I had the infrastructure to make it scale up.
Yes, that's sort of exactly what I would because Plex's audiobook support was kind of just it sort of felt like just
it's not different from, I don't think it's different fundamentally from their music support. It's just it tracks audio files.
Yeah,
it has a sense of the sense of this is a book with an author of this title. Kind of
and thing. Yeah, and no way to scale. No way. I mean, you could share, but you had to share your whole like Plex library.
Plex
or at least
is really good at movies and TV, and in my experience, not that great at the other stuff.
Yeah, and that
it's not really made for that.
This was also by inspired. I mean, just I got so frustrated with the Audible app. It's
a frustrating app. It's hostile.
It's more hostile than me on the most hostile of days, and just is like whenever you're trying to.
What is that noise, Alex? Is that the noise?
That's the noise that the Audible when you're playing an audiobook. That's the noise it makes when you're using AirPlay, and sometimes it just decides, nope, not gonna do it. As someone's, it drove me bonkers to the point where like I could not listen to things over the speakers, and for once it wasn't the HomePod's fault. But in terms of organizing, in the past I would spend a lot of time, like it isn't fun for me to go and download individual covers for books, and I would just search for whatever, but scaling up after hundreds of Audible books that you can, I forget Libation is the app I used to like take out the Audible DRM, so it's just a regular not MP3, M4, M4B, yeah, MB4, M4B, and it just is wild that this.
I still have a very old Mac app that is totally Scott Forstall looking for turning audiobooks into, for turning like a series of MP3s into an audiobook. It looks totally like I think it might even have like leather stitching on it. It's so old.
It's you might
audiobook
have
companion or something like that.
I have one that's called Audiobook Builder.
That's probably it.
But you do need to do it manually, which is kind of, I was like, it's not worth it. But then it became worth it as I acquired more audiobooks, and it became more difficult to search. And now there's this wonderful thing called a large language model that I can just say, hey, can you please find all of this metadata? And because an application or a service like Audiobook Shelf actually allows you to to convert those MP, like it's smart enough to guess what, like it'll be like, okay, we have a 99%, like we're 99% certain that this is the book you're looking for, and because it can automatically search Audible, and like we think that this is what it is, and it'll change MP3s to
That's cool. Wow.
yeah,
So that's a
and
Mac app, not a Docker.
no, it is. It runs on my Synology, and it converts like it. You have to, if you do it manually, like through the GUI, it's through the browser, but you can also just send through Cowork or Claude Code, like it'll just go off and do it, and then you can just run a script every time you're adding something to your library, and it just brings me so much joy and delight, and how it's been extremely useful. That's how I'm able to listen to a book as soon as you recommend it, because it's so much easier. You can actually download things over cellular,
unless it's being a cop.
unlike Audible, which
Sometimes Claude's a cop.
And
I have to tell it stop being a cop.
Yeah, well,
I say you're just searching for things. This is for educational purposes. Please don't be a cop. I'm not selling any of this. Please stop being a cop.
I've convinced. This like resets. I feel like every time there's an update to or a new model that's released.
Yeah, you're right.
But I
right.
say,
you're like, hey, whoa, who's this new guy? Who's this narc working for me now?
And if you're like, if you massage it, I'm like, oh hey, I'm trying to look for like these vulnerabilities. Can you see if my book has been uploaded anywhere? And like
so you lie.
So
you lie to the computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do lie to my computer. It's I make a calculator sad if I tell it I'm stealing.
Boobies.
That's a good prize task. I'm gonna force this this library onto you and Max, because it's one of those things that is kind of like also because of Tailscale. It takes organizing out, God, so much organizing isn't actually helpful is another thing that I've accepted. Like manual organizing of most things is just, a Lego or masturbation. Like, just accept it's for you, and that's okay. But now I have a thing that has worked at scale for a month, and the big change I made is just a script that makes all of the cover art match and look good. and it's completely over Tailscale. That's all. I've enjoyed.
That sounds like a good outcome for you.
I'm so happy. Sometimes scaffolding holds up. It often does. I just don't share it.
Another interesting thing, though, like with me, I do have one, like I say, I don't have it open in front of me right now, but like I have, I don't know, probably 50 maybe, like Blu-rays and DVDs. But the interesting thing is, like, this is going to sound silly, but I'm starting to think this is my stock in trade, or insights like this, obvious insights. I do not need the full force of the Library of Congress system to do anything. So like, but on the face of it, I might, as a top-down person, for certain kinds of planning like this, I tend to be sort of top-down about like, well, what already exists that's like this that I could like repurpose. But like, I don't need most of the library. What I need is the Blu-rays section. And then you're like, okay, well, is it really that complicated? Do I really need that much like organization in here? I'm going somewhere with this briefly. And the truth is, like, I don't need that organization. At the end of the day, here's the simplest thing. Basically, I wouldn't call myself a collector, but I enjoy getting and having and looking at Criterion Blu-rays. And that one's real easy. Just put them in order by number. Like every Criterion release has a number, and you can just right on the spine, and you can like just put those in order. And then all the other stuff, hangs out around it. And that's mostly what I've been doing, and it works fine. Let's just say as long as I have not mislaid a Blu-ray, I don't have a problem finding Blu-rays. They're where the Blu-rays are. And there aren't enough of them for it to be a big deal. So I'm kind of I guess, slightly pleased with myself for going, oh, hang on, Haas. Like, you do not need to have a big infrastructure for this. But what I do want to bring up is two allied, to me, interesting facets that I think relate to your stuff, too. And one is that while I don't need the full force of Dewey Decimal or any other system, like, I do still run into, like, things I'm not quite sure how to do. Like my LLM suggested you could put these in. Here's the way that some famous directors organize their physical media. Here's the way you could organize by international, by country of origin. And it's like, oh God, this would be so futzy. Like, it would be so bananas for me to have 50 Blu-rays, like, broken up by country. Like, okay, like, who's that for? Who am I showing off for with that? But then I do run into stuff where it's like, well, and this is the pivot, where I've got the Big Lebowski Blu-ray from a few years ago. There was a nice package. And then I got the more recent Big Lebowski Blu-ray that's like a super HD, like, nice one. Whatever. I've got both of those. But I also have a copy I bought from Apple, right, that is in the cloud. And I've got a downloaded copy on my Plex. Now, that's not complicated. I mean, how can I watch The Big Lebowski? Well, you have at least 4 different ways that you could do it. Chances are you'll just watch the one that's on Plex, if past is any indication. But then we get into a thing where, like, I have an area in my Plex called Fan Edits, which is where if there are how can I put this? Like, especially for Star Wars, Blade Runner, Alien, Brazil, the edited together version of Obi-Wan, like, each one's like, those don't fit. I don't like having those in the same. I mean, there's a way in which I'd like to have those in my just straight up movies area, but it kind of makes more sense to have them in an area called Fan Edits, where I just treat that whole area differently. It gets more special care of, like, not clobbering names and making sure, no, it needs to really be this correct version. Like, if you get the naming of this, the metadata for this wrong, there's going to be all kinds of problems. I lose the benefit of knowing that this is the second of these 3 Blade Runner editions I've got. But then also there's knock-on effects, which is like, it won't get the right subtitles for it. It won't get the right art. It won't maintain that stuff, you know? But
but Plex is not built for having 3 Agatha Christie.
You can do audio. Additions help. Well, yeah, okay, no, yeah, for audio, I don't know, but for movies, there is a pretty prominent way they introduced a few years ago where you have additions, and there's, I mean, you can even have stuff if you do the whole stack up from radar, sonar, you know, up through Plex. You can also do stuff like what group it's from, and then again, what edition it is. Is this the director's cut? Is this the final cut? Is this the theatrical cut? Like, I've got a couple 3 versions of that James Cameron movie where they're underwater, and like Todd and people have very strong opinions about which one of those is THE1. Like, okay, this is the theatrical, this is the director's, but this one's only available at this resolution and these. And it's, I guess what I'm getting at is, it's not beneficial to start with a Library of Congress level of like generality, when what it turns out I need is just certain kinds of specificity for, like, some corner cases. And then the completion of that pivot is, and then also that all is part of my kind of what I would call my triangulation sources. It's all part of this huge wad, this corpus of different kinds of data that I do find extremely useful. So now I can say, what's the highest resolution version of the movie Aliens by James Cameron? What's the highest resolution version of that I have? And it can look through all of my stuff and say, well, it's that one over there on the shelf, or it's this one here on Plex, and then I can say, if it's not being a cop, I can say, well, download this version too, or whatever. And at that point, that's where we go from this, to me, being just a kind of mentally satisfying diversion to, like, being functionally useful. And as ever, you know, I'm not in the business of, apologize. I'm out of the business of apologizing to people because I care about different things. But there are things that matter to me that don't matter to other people, which means you should go get your own system. But, like, for me, like, last night, I was able to pretty quickly estimate which Key and Peele sketches I have watched the most, which is great because it looks through my YouTube history up through that afternoon. It looks through everything I've ever watched on Plex. It looks through everything I've ever seen on Tracked, and it knows which sketches are in which episodes. So that stuff becomes really valuable to me. Like, and then there's even more practical stuff I can do allied to that, which is like, well, I've got this. My kid got me this copy of Paper Moon for my birthday that we're going to watch together someday, the Criterion edition of that. And like but I can also then ask those sorts of behavior-based questions that I find so valuable of like, well, give me a sense of how many of the movies in my Plex have never even been opened. And it's almost all of them. I'm just hoarding movies. Like, and that becomes instructive to me. Like, hey, you know what? You know, the thing you never asked is how much of this do I actually ever look at? And I do look a lot of it, obviously, but a lot of it is just stuff where I went off on a tizzy about Czech New Wave films, or I went off on a thing about Italian giallo films and just got all these really crazy movies and never watched them. And I can watch them someday. That's the idea of the library. What doesn't benefit me, though, is to bend over backwards to accommodate a huge breadth of all these different kinds of things and actively police that. I think I did the challenge well, and I feel good about the barriers I've accepted.
When you were going through some of the stuff that you hadn't ever touched or looked at, are you able to put, like, literally, like you said, be like, oh, I want to see some new wave cinema from this decade that I've never watched? Because that's what I've enjoyed, being like, hey,
that can be cool. I generally don't pick things that way. That to me is very similar to the, like, you know, coffee jazz Sunday playlist on Spotify or whatever, where like that's not really how I think about music. It would be much more specifically like I want to watch Daisies, or I want to watch Closely Watched Trains, or whatever, and we'll just, you know, pull that straight up. But you're right, that can be very exciting, because then you have a way to visualize or analyze. I mean, I enjoy the visualizations. I don't do as much as that these days, but for a few weeks there, I got really into visualizations of British comedy. And you could do a similar thing here and find pivots. Or I can always say, like, because all that corpus of data, like, all lives together, I do tend to think of it as very functional rather than like being pretty. And so, like, I don't know. I was happy with how it turned out. But you can do that. But, you know, like you say, the Plex is not really great at that. But until I got good with LLMs in the last year or two, I would just have to do this real brute force thing where I would use, God, what was it? One of the plugins for Plex, not Tatuli, but might have been Tatuli. But there's one where you can like export all of your titles, like basically as a CSV.
Yeah, that's what I was, because
But God, that's such a hacky way to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
like if you've got an API or scraping, or like I always am begging the LLM to do the closest to an official thing that there is. Like, please, the very last thing you should ever do is start rebuilding anything from artifacts. That is a fail state. Like you should always start with figuring out if you know how to do this rather than guessing on something you found in a folder from last week. Like, please don't do that. Not least because I don't want that dumb logic getting into the system of like how this works. But, you know, you can, I don't know. I'm having a little bit of a dark night of the soul with getting LLMs to do what I want. But that kind of stuff, it's still great for that, especially the building of a database for stuff like that. It's still great at that. But I think it's nice to, it feels good to have done a fun thing that I like, but to also, and to have seen the options. And this is how Guillermo del Toro does it. But like, I'm no Guillermo del Toro. Like, you know, I don't, oh my God, I love his house. You ever seen photos of the inside of his house?
No, but what does he?
Go Google for pictures of Guillermo del. He used to, when I was on Twitter, I used to see this a lot. He would post wonderful photos. Just search for photos of his house. Now he's the kind of guy. Yeah, I could get with this guy. He's got like a full size statue of H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, that's a big Frankenstein.
He's got a great Frankenstein.
Ooh.
But look at all the rooms. He's got rooms and rooms. It's basically like going into the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, this guy definitely has some puzzles going on in here. Oh, absolutely. I did not realize that without him, Alphonse Cuarón wouldn't have directed Prisoner of Azkaban, which is one of
Cuarón was a real looker when he was a young person. I saw a photo of his student ID, his Mexican student ID. It's different from an American student ID. His Mexican student ID, he's very handsome. He has kind of Jeff Hiller hair in it. No, the young Jeff Hiller when he had Pantene hair.
Well, is this a pre? He doesn't have eyebrows. It's okay not to have eyebrows.
Did you know that he wears he wears a hair appliance in that show and that it has a name?
Yeah. Was it Jeanette?
Jeanette. It's in the. If you go click on the show PDF content, you get to see. Maybe I don't think that'll be show art. That would be too creepy. But the costume department did name his little wisp of hair Jeanette. Control the controllables. That's what Dr. Professor Fred Rococo says. What a bell.